Alright guys, we're back with a Wednesday Arc 101 going back to basics. I'm Harv, this is Harv's Corner. So, we're going to talk about taming things today. We're going to talk about shooting things with darts or feeding things, whatever, to try to get what we want. It's Arc, that's the name of the game, right? Different types of tames. Traditionally, most of the time, there's two different ways to tame dinos in here. You have knockout tames and passive tames. Knockout tames, you got to knock them out. Passive tames usually have to interact with the animal while it's out in the wild in some way, shape, or form to get it to be yours. We're going to go over the two basic steps and a couple of methods that I use routinely to tame different dinos. Alrighty, so there's a couple different weapons that you can use to knock tames out, but primarily the two you're going to use are what I got in my hand, a long neck rifle with tranquilizer darts, or if you're earlier on, you're probably going to be using a crossbow with tranquilizing arrows. They both pretty much do the same thing. You hit a dino with it, its torpor increases, and as soon as the torpor maxes out, the dino knocks out. There's other methods to do this. You can use a wooden club, you can use bolas, you can use things like that to knock the tames out, but your ranged weapons, the crossbow and the long neck rifle, are usually the way to go. Now there's normal skittish dinos that need to be knocked out, like this pteranodon over here, that'll usually just run from you, but some of the more aggressive dinos are going to try to chase you down. So it's definitely essential to know what you're trying to tame, what you're going after. I suggest looking the animals up either in the Dododex or on Arc's Gamepedia site. We'll throw both of those links in the description. But for right now, I'm going to walk over to this pteranodon and see, ooh, looks like there's a fight brewing. But we're going to try this long neck rifle out. Let's try this Prolovia out. He's eating pteranodon. Well, there you go. So one shot actually did it. It's a fairly lower level, so that's probably why. But as you can see, the unconscious meter goes all the way up. And from there, you can access its inventory, and there you can feed it and tame it. Now, the Prolovia is a meat eater. I can't actually tame it with what I have because I don't have any meat on me. But you need to put meat in its inventory. Carnivores want meat. Herbivores want berries. Again, Dododex and the Gamepedia are your friends to find out what is the best option for taming whatever creature you're going after. Now, if you notice, the unconscious meter is slowly starting to tick down on this. Now, when that unconscious meter goes all the way down, it's going to wake up. So the trick is to get the taming bar all the way up and the unconscious meter never all the way down. If it wakes back up, you got to start all over again. So let's go try to find this guy some meat, and I'll be right back. Alright, so we found this guy some meat, and I'm going to walk back over to him. As you can see, the unconscious meter is going a little bit further down. Now, if there is a way to counteract this, either with narcotics or narco berries. Narcotics are more effective, but you can use narco berries in a pinch. You can access their inventory, and because this guy's a carnivore, I'm just going to throw some meat in his inventory. Now, better quality meat means a better tame, better bonus to the tame. Now, if we check his inventory again, you'll see his food stats start to trickle down, and it'll go back up when it starts to eat. It ate once, and taming went up to 3.9%. It tells me the taming effectiveness and how many bonus levels it's going to get once this creature tames. Now I got a 98.8% at this point right now. Every time this guy eats, that percentage is going to go down just a little bit, just a little bit, just a little bit. So regular meat is going to tame the animal, but it's not going to be as effective. And what you're looking for is the best taming effectiveness, because, for instance, this Prolovia is at a 42. If this guy was only going to eat one more time and then be tamed and we got the plus 20 levels, it would come out at a 62. So it's definitely important because you're getting bonus levels out of the animal. And what you'll notice is you can get half again the max levels of the creature that you're taming. So in this case, a level 42 would have given me 100% taming bonus would have gave me plus 21 levels. If it's a level 100 dino, I could have gotten plus 50 levels if I got 100% taming effectiveness. So if that's what you're going after, the best stats or the best level ups, you're definitely going to want to do some research as to what you're taming. To keep it knocked out, you can see the torpidity marker slowly start to go down. Now, I don't have any narcotics on me, so I'm just going to use berries just to show you. But you put the berries or the narcotics in its inventory, and you remote use it in its inventory. And as I start to feed this guy a couple narco berries, you can see the torpidity start to go back up. It's a game you're going to have to play. Torpor's going to go up, berries are going to lose effectiveness, it's going to go back down again. So you constantly want to watch that. Now, something like the Prolovia, its torpidity doesn't go down very fast, but there are other tames in the Arc universe that go down incredibly fast, so you want to watch it. But we're going to come back once this guy's tamed, and I can show you the extra level stats that it's going to get. Alright, so he's tamed, and once he's tamed, if you're near him, you're going to see this message where you can name it. If you just hit accept or cancel to a blank, it's just going to leave the name as Prolovia. Standardly, when an animal's tamed, it's going to be on attacking target and it's going to be on follow. So this guy is going to follow me around and he's going to attack anything that attacks me or anything that I attack. So we're going to shut him off. And because this guy has a cool little ability, I'm just going to bury him right here to keep him safe for a little bit. So that's how you would do a normal carnivore. A knockout herbivore is the same thing. You're going to knock him out with a tranquilizing weapon of some kind and then feed it berries instead. Now, there's different things that are better for, for carnivores. Raw meat is good, but prime meat is better. Things like mutton and kibble is even the best. With herbivores, you're primarily looking at mejoberries out of all the berries, also any sort of vegetables when you start to grow crops. Again, kibble is still the best bet, and we have a 101 kibble video if you're wondering about how that works. But those are your two methods. Those are your two big types. You have your knockout herbivores, your knockout carnivores. You knock them out, you put food in their inventory, you wait it out, and they get tame. Now, it's easy on things that you can one-hit knock out, or things that run away from you. You can, use the bolus to tie them down. You can use traps. But what about things that are running after you? Like a T-Rex or an Allosaurus or a Carno, those things that would get ticked off at you when you hit it with a dart and come try to kill you. That's where taming pens really come into play, and I'm going to show you a couple of the ones that I use on a routine basis to help you out. So this is something like one of the taming pens that I would use in my normal taming process. Nothing but window walls. We laid some foundations down. Put a door in, a dino gate, because we're going to tame it inside of here and I want to be able to get it out. So there's a dino gate in there. The ramps are going up one side and the door is down there. Now, if you're using S+, you want to change the big door to like a manual open and close so that it doesn't open up when you're near it and the tame doesn't run out. But the idea is that you have the tame coming after you, right? You run, you drop into the ramp, out the door closes. Tame stuck in there. It goes up the ramp, but then it gets stuck because this is 3 walls high. Most dinos are not going to get over something that's 3 walls high. So this is a pretty easy cut and dry way to do things, and then you can trank them through the windows and knock them out. Now, if it's something smaller like a raptor that you chased up in there and you can't quite see him through the windows, that's when building a balcony off the side will help. Having a balcony off the side allows you to get up above it and be able to see everything that's coming down in here. So for a bigger tame, you don't want to be up here because it'll still hit you. But for smaller tames that are aggressive, this is actually a pretty good way to do things as well. Once it's knocked out, you can just walk it out the door and you're home free. The taming pen requires a bit of construction ahead of time, a bit of planning ahead of time, but this works pretty well. Now, if you're on a server that allows flyers to carry wild dinos, you can always make a pen like this. If you have a flyer, pick it up and drop it in here and make your life a lot easier. But how would you tame the flyer? This is where my next trap comes in, and this is usually the one that I use the most. Oh, I got a mess of people out here. Now I have some admin codes on so they don't bother me while we're doing our thing so that you can kind of see what I'm working with. But basically, this is a line of dino gates, regular dino gates with a door on either side. So it's important to usually make these things out of at least stone. The reason why I say that is because there's a long list of creatures that can damage wood structures, but there's not a whole lot that can damage stone or damage stone very well. So I advise making things out of stone. If you're on a server where you can pick things up, that's fantastic. Any server running S+, fantastic. You can just use the demo gun and pick things up when you're done with it. But I would highly advise using stone. Now, the way this trap works is it's fairly simple, and there's 2 different ways to use it. If you're on foot, you can lead the creature in and skip out between these cracks, leaving the larger creature stuck in here and he can't get out. And because I'm running S+, the doors auto close for me. If you're not running S+, you probably want to pay attention to that. It's going to be a little bit more dangerous. The option with S+, if you don't have S+, is to go in here and lay a large bear trap down in the center of this. So you get out, skip around the side, while the tame is attached to the bear trap, you can come around and close the doors and lock it inside. This will also work for flyers too. If you were in an area that had a lot of Argentavis, something aggressive that would come after you, or griffins, you can get them to chase you in here, skid out one of the sides and have the flyer trapped in here and then knock out tame it like normal. So for those aggressive flyers or for aggressive bigger guys, this is definitely an option as well. I like this for griffins, for RGs. Anything, even snow owls, any aggressive flyers, this is usually a pretty good way to do things. And again, if you're using S+, you can just pick them up. But if you're not, it's still worth it, honestly. There's a lot of security involved in that. The other thing to remember is placing these guys. You want to pick a place that's somewhat close to what you're taming, but not right up on it, so it's not going to ambush you while you're making it. So pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to what you're taming, do a little bit of research about the creature that you're trying to trap. So those are the two taming pens that I normally use, and that about covers knockout tames, whether it be a carnivore or a herbivore using different taming pens. The other quick thing that we're going to talk about is passive tames. The passive tames are slightly different. What it is it requires you to put a certain item in your last slot of your quick item slot and approach the creature, and you'll be prompted to feed him. Now, it's important, again, to do your research about the tame that you're trying to get to find out what it wants to eat. Some creatures want different passive food than others. For instance, this Lysosaurus waddling around over here. These guys always eat rare flowers to tame them. They'll eat normal berries afterwards, but for the initial taming process, they want rare flowers. So I have rare flowers in my last slot. And if I just walk up to this, it'll pop up with the option to, feed flower to tame. Boink. And you'll see the taming bar go up. And it works the same way that, your knockout tames do, with the exception of the torpor meter. And you'll notice I'm prompted with a wait until it's hungry again to be able to feed it again. You just kind of have to follow this thing around for a while and check it. A lot of passive tames work differently. Some are technically aggressive animals but need to be tamed passively like this to be hand-fed something. So again, do your research, and there we go. We got a Lysosaurus. But that about sums up the taming basics in the ARK universe. 9 times out of 10, you're coming down to either passive tames or knockout tames. Again, and I can't stress this enough, do your research as far as what you're trying to tame to figure out the best ways of doing it, to find out what kind of food that it wants to eat while taming. That part is critical. Gamepedia, Dododex, and a few other sites are incredibly helpful and useful. You can even plug in your own server settings so that it tells you exactly how much of a certain item you might need to tame something. Also tells you the best weapons to use while taming them as well. Most of the time you're going to use something like a crossbow or a long neck rifle with tranquilizer darts to tame what you want. But that's about it, guys. Taming basics, it's pretty cut and dry. So again, thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out. This is going to start a couple of other 101s that we're going to put out. Next week's we're going to get into more of breeding, the breeding of tames and how the stats work when you're breeding. Followed by mutations. So this is kind of like a 3-step video process that we're making. But that's taming in a nutshell. If there's certain animals, a certain creature that you're trying to tame that you're having problems with, shoot something in the comments and we'll do a small video on it so I can help you out the best that I can. If there's other taming things that work better for you, something that I might have missed, feel free to shoot something in the comments and let us know. And as always, please like, please comment, please subscribe, please let me know how I'm doing or what you might want to see thrown out on the channel next. But that's all, guys. Until next time, thanks.